Tammy Yosich is with us, and she has a book that's coming out soon. It's called Beacon of Hope. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. Tammy works with the Asple recovery community, and you have for the last
16 years.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. And describe this book then, Tammy. Is it about Asple, about recovery, or all of the above? Or
It is, Steve, all of the above. I found that through my research, Asple has a rich history of hope. And like the clients that we serve, her vessel has kind of gone through some dark times and some challenges. And ultimately, she has come out on the backside of being one of the most recognizable treatment centers in the state of Tennessee. And her story didn't start in 1979. Now, obviously, that's when Asple became a nonprofit and started serving. But really, her story started when Bob Asple arrived in Jackson in 1954.
Okay. Well, tell me about Bob Asple, 1954.
1954, Bob Asple showed up in Jackson, Tennessee from Ohio, having rode the rails, or depending on the story, he could have been just a hitchhiker. At any rate, he ended up in Jackson, Tennessee, drunk, needed some help, ended up going to the Salvation Army, got that help that he needed there, and he stayed in Jackson until he passed away. And one of the things that he said that I found interesting is that Jackson welcomed him, and that Jackson has been a beacon for him, and that when he showed up here, like the clients that he served through the Salvation Army, that this was a place of hope for him. And so even after he passed away...
When did he pass away? When did he die?
He passed away before, in the 60s.
Okay. So he passed away before Asple actually became...
all four members.
Okay.
TAMB Asple is under the umbrella of TAMB, T-A-M-B.
Okay.
And those initials stand for the last name of the four founders.
Okay.
Nancy Tufeld, Bob Asple, Frank Moore, and Sam Burgle.
They all have stories.
Okay.
Charlie Gay Sr. in 1978.
Working at Jacoa as a transport. And so he just transported the clients, kind of like some of our support staff does now.
Okay.
So he was transporting clients to outside meetings and so forth. And what he found is that there wasn't a halfway house here. There wasn't a facility where, say, when someone graduates treatment, that there was a place to go.
To stay.
He and Bob Asple had a lifelong friendship. And one of the things that I found very interesting is, so Charlie Gay decided, hey, I want to open up a halfway house here. He traveled to Tupelo, Mississippi. He found that these houses were really beneficial to people coming out of treatment. So instead of naming this new facility at 331 North Highland, which is gone now, Asple Manor, Charlie Gay Center, he said, no, I want to name this after my mentor, after the person who really gave me the wings to fly. And so he's like, I need to name this Asple.
Asple Manor. So it starts as just a place, after you come out of treatment or whatever, then you can just stay for a while. Because you don't want to walk into the immediate pressure of having to pay rent and get everything, you're rebuilding your life.
And that's really an insight that Charlie Gay had. He says, we need to get alcoholics off the street. How can we do that?
Right.
And there's an old Victorian house here. And as a matter of fact, him and his wife put up the resources for that property themselves.
So Jacoa was already here and doing work.
Yeah,
the Jackson Area Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence is still here, does a splendid program, a great history of its own. So it was already here as far as treatment.
Absolutely.
So there was some treatment that had been started. And so this is a regrouping place, right?
Absolutely. Bob Asple and Nancy Tufeld was involved in that. They're the ones that actually got that council started.
Okay.
And so when Charlie Gay saw that, he was working there and doing what he needed to do there, but it's amazing that it's just an inspirational story of how Charlie Gay took on the Asple that we see today, buying three properties. We started with three lots.
It's on Highland Avenue.
On Highland Avenue, on the corner of Highland and McCowett.
McCowett, that's right.
Yeah. And he bought those three lots.
Okay.
And that old Victorian house.
Right.
Which you're reading the book.
And this was in the 70s, 60s? When
in the 70s.
70s,
late 70s as he bought the property.
Right.
And then when he went to get it as a nonprofit, that's when he said, I need to name this after those four members that were really instrumental.
So that's the foundation of TAMB, which is the technical corporate whatever name of Asple, which has now become. All right. We're talking, Tammy Yosich has completed a book. It'll be released next month?
It'll be next month. It'll be released. I just got the copy. I'm working on the copyright, and that takes a few months. So once the copyright is released, I'll upload it to Amazon, and it'll be available there and my website. So.
It's called Beacon of Hope, and it'll go into print, and it's a history of Asple. But then also, how much were we able to find out about him before he got off the train or showed up in town in 1954? Is there a history of his life prior to that?
Steve, I know that he was married briefly in Ohio, and so I searched ancestry records for him.
So he just shows up.
He just shows up.
Shows up and stays because Jackson is a welcoming place.
It welcomed him, man. As soon as he got here, as a matter of fact, when he retired from Jacoa, he wrote in one of the articles, he was like, "This is his home," and it's just inspirational how much Jackson just welcomed him in here.
Tammy Yosich with us doing a history of the Aspel recovery community, which has grown extensively since those early days in just one house and 3 lots, and what is an amazing program. What else then do you highlight? You highlight the origin of this and whatever. Then what are the other key points for Aspel? Because if you walk on that campus today, it's like, and the original house is gone.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, this didn't just land here. So what have been the key points then for this program?
So, book chronicles the life of Bob Aspel and Charlie Gay, and then the 4 members.
Okay.
But then it goes through the entire history.
That's right, because they all, once again, those 4 founders have their own stories. There's a reason they were involved in recovery.
They were involved. I know Nancy Touchfield was involved in recovery. I'm not sure that the other 2 were, and Bob Aspel obviously was.
Yeah, okay.
But and so then it chronicles all of Aspel's history dating back to 1979 up till today, 2020.
Okay.
And it's amazing how those 3 lots, and when you read, one of the things that I want most important to come out of this book is that it's a universal story. It's not just limited to Aspel. Anybody that reads this book who is struggling with addiction, if they have an organization that seems to be flailing, this is a book that shows really how God is in the details.
Okay.
Even though there was a point where Aspel looked like it was going to close.
Right.
And like we talked earlier about strategic plans, thank God we have a strategic plan that can go out 5 years.
Yeah.
There was a time that it was like week to week, right?
Like, the early board meeting is like, okay, how are we going to be payroll here at the end of the month?
Yeah.
Right. And it's wonderful to have a long-range planning committee now because the assumption is, hey, we got things to plan, right? Got things to do.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing transition. All right, so what were the key points then to get it where it is today after the founding?
Community support.
Okay.
And that was pretty sketchy early on because we're talking about a population of people that a community may not want to be their neighbors.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So there was some zoning issues, and there was
You want to put what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want who to live here?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can see that resistance.
But it's amazing the evolution of the community support because at one point there was a neighborhood association that was like, look, we understand your cause and we think these people are deserving. We just don't want them in my backyard.
Right.
To fast forward 10, 15 years, there's people who have written us letters that said, hey, I'm so glad that you're our neighbors. You guys have kept up the property and we see those people going out and working and being productive citizens, which is the ultimate goal, right? So it's amazing to see that transformation take place throughout the book.
Okay. Tammy Yosich with us. The book is coming out. It's called Beacon of Hope. It's a history of the Aspel recovery community here in Jackson, Tennessee. But it's also a story of a lot of different people, and you say hope.
Hope.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there something, there are many recovery programs, whatever. What is unique about Aspel to you?
And this is something I've highlighted in the book as well. Steve, we've had several diverse individuals and organizations show up on our campus at different points in time, and they've all said something very similar, that this is a family place. This has a family feel. This has a hopeful feel.
Okay.
And it's so, and one of the things that I believe in personally, and I think I can speak for Aspel staff, it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. And when you step onto our campus, you can see us doing good works. You can see us compassionate about the people that we serve. And that obviously is being conveyed to visitors to our campus.
Tammy Yosich with us. Once again, the timetable on this, you've applied for the copyright and all this other stuff. And do you expect that when, or is there any way to anticipate that?
Well, it's the government. So
I tell the story being in the utility business or being involved with you, that the first time that Jackson got street lights, electric street lights, and the gas system brought it in because they'd been using gas lights, and that they had 24 of them were lit. The one in front of the post office was not included because the paperwork hadn't got back.
Yeah.
And that was in 1877 or something. Y'all's is not on yet because the paperwork hadn't been turned in. There's been no payment received. So it's always been that way, I guess, right? Okay.
So I've been working on this project since October.
Okay.
And then once I went through several drafts, if anybody's a writer, you know that the first draft is not it. So I went through several drafts, and then so when I got it to where it has been edited and it's really in my hand tangible, I applied for the copyright early December.
Okay.
And they immediately sent me back, said, hey, we got it due to COVID, so it's going to take a couple of months.
Okay. So whenever it comes out, it'll go first to Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll go through through. I have a.
Will it be print or Kindle or?
It will be print.
Okay.
I've not worked up how I'm working through Kindle Direct Publishing, which is through Amazon.
Okay.
And so I've self-published this book. So I know that for sure it'll be print. And if there seems to be an interest in the Kindle, I can do that too.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with all that.
Yeah.
So you're moving from writer into publisher here now.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. How does that feel?
Yeah, I think it's scary, but it's exciting. I've been writing my whole life.
Because you and I talked a year or two ago or three or something about a children's book that you.
Yeah, I have a kids book that's also on Amazon.
And entitled
"The Bird That Was Afraid to Fly."
The Bird That Was Afraid to Fly. So look at Tammy Yosich, Yosich. I'm saying that right, Yosich.
You are saying it absolutely perfect.
Okay, yeah. And so Yosich as Tammy, and look for that on Amazon. The Bird That Was Afraid to Fly.
Bird That Was Afraid to Fly.
Designed for children what age?
Probably around 6, 7, younger.
Anyway, check it out. Beacon of Hope, a story that just has many roots. What did you find out you didn't know, or was it all new?
A lot of it was new.
I mean, one thing we talked about, there's a gap in history, and that's local history. I mean, the history of banks, history of churches, history of all the things that we count on. And you go downtown in Elks Building and Pythian Building, whatever, obviously fraternal and social societies were a key part of Jackson, Tennessee. A lot of that gets lost, or, they're there, but, who started and everything else. And so you're doing a valuable thing.
Yeah.
I think.
I really enjoyed it. It did a couple of things. It's really showcasing what a small organization can do and the impact that it can have on its community and statewide.
Okay.
But for me, because I almost feel like Aspel's raised me, really. I've been there since I was 30 years old.
Okay.
And so the things that I have learned through Aspel, just for one thing, just the love and support I've gotten from Aspel.
Okay.
When I first started there in 2005, there was just 11 employees.
Wow.
And so then I moved into grants and compliance. That's what I do now. It's compliance management. And this book really just started because I maybe by default, I don't know, but I helped do the annual employee appreciation banquet.
All right.
And so I just did some research. Because of COVID, we weren't going to be able to really schedule a speaker. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do a presentation on Aspel, and Aspel can tell her story.
Right.
But then once I got into the research part of it, I was like, wait, this might actually be a good book.
Okay.
That could help people.
You refer to Aspel as her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm almost like she's a nice vessel.
Okay.
And that
kind of a mom caring kind of thing, or whatever.
Like
okay.
I do refer to her as a her. She just seems like she's been in turbulent waters and she's come out on the other side and one of the themes that's recurrent throughout the book is lamppost lighters. Okay. I think Bob Aspel lit that first lamp, and he didn't turn around to see if his name was on the pole. He just kept moving forward. And so when Charlie Gay and Tam, those members came behind, they're all lighting lamps. Back in the day, somebody had to go out with a stick and light a literal flame.
Yeah, right.
And so that's the recurrent theme throughout the book is that we are all lamppost lighters.
Okay. Look forward to it coming out. It's called Beacon of Hope. Tammy Yosich is the author. It's the story of TAMB, which is the Aspel Recovery Community in Jackson, Tennessee. But more than that, look forward to the book coming out. I want you to come back if you will.
Absolutely. I have more exciting news, so hopefully I'll get to come back.
Well, terrific. And good luck in the publishing business.
Yeah.
It's kind of like moving one to the other. Some people find out it's kind of like in the recording business. It's a lot more fun to make them than it is to produce them.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Good luck to you.